This is just an intro video on using Gravit Designer. So you're going to go to the Gravit Designer. If you just Google it, you can choose the first option and then sign in using your student email. You should have created an account already. We're just using the free version. So our final design is going to look something like this. So once you get to Gravit, you might see this. So we're going to go New design. This should be what you see. So what we're going to do is we're going to use inches. You can do 5 by 7 and then click create. So we have a new canvas right here. As you can see, it's very similar to Photoshop, and it's just slightly different, lighter colors, kind of different placements. But this is just an intro video. So you can see the tabs up here. Got my new tab here. We are just going to start by messing around with shapes. So I've got some shapes here and then the pen tool, which I will show you, and then some text. So it's really quite simple. We're going to start out with the layers. So here's our layers bar, and then this is kind of some detailing things for the objects or lines that you create. So we're going to go ahead and create a new layer. So this little plus mark, and we're going to name this shapes. Now, I'm still learning this as well, so I'm not super smooth with it. So we got our shapes, and I'm going to select this layer, and then over here in our toolbar, which is up top, there's a little star, or yours might be a rectangle. If you click this little drop-down bar, go ahead and choose a shape, any one of these, except the line. Avoid the line for now. So I'm just going to do rectangle, and I'm going to click and drag. And if you can see, I'm just going to drag this under the shapes. Actually, I could put it in there. Okay, so I just put it under the shapes layer in the layers bar. So I have my rectangle right now. And then over here, for some of the detailing, if you go to the fill color, that is here. And then there's borders. So if you want a frame around it, it's the borders, and you have to click this little plus mark. So for the fill, I'm going to go ahead and change that. They've got colors, they got in use, and by the way, if this says Pro, that's the premium version. We don't have access to that. And then there's a mixer. So I'm just going to go with colors. I'll just pick pink for now. Okay. Then you can switch the border, so the line weight of the border. I'm going to try 3, press enter. You can see it creates that little border line around it, and you can change the colors of that to whatever you want. So we're just kind of messing around. Another thing, and you can toggle with all these so you can see that this rounds the corners, the opacities right here, things that you probably are already familiar with. So you can mess with all of those. And then I was kind of looking at the drop shadow. So we got the drop shadow here, and you can mess with where that is. You can see it's creating the drop. And then you can change the color and things like that. So I just kind of want you experimenting with your different shapes. You're going to create 4 different shapes. So I got my rectangle here, and then maybe I go back up and I'm going to do a star. So I'll click and drag to create my star. And then I actually discovered your points. You can change the number of points that your star has, the size of it, the corner, kind of messing with that. So if you have sharp corners, so on and so forth. And then you can change the color, all that. Okay, so I know there was a way to create a gradation, but I might need to do that later. Same thing, this has the drop shadow from the previous shape. So if you didn't want a drop shadow, you could go back, or maybe we do 0, maybe we don't have one. It's just the plain shape. So there's my second shape. You can also Control-C, Control-V, make copies. So you can layer them, and actually what I was messing with, I can change the color of this. So if I go to fill, I'm actually going to do a little bit of a gradation. So if I go mixer, I'm going to go a shade lighter, and maybe I have a little row of gradations or whatever. Okay. Oh, and here it is. So Oh, never mind. I'm wrong. Never mind. I thought I knew where the gradation was. I don't. Okay, anyways. So I've got my shapes here, and then you can change the size of them. So it's the same as Photopea or Photoshop. If you hold down Shift, you can change the size without messing up the ratio. If you don't hold down Shift, you can see what happens. So just kind of mess around with all of those things. Same thing with the layers. If you click and drag them, it changes where their placement is on the canvas. So you can, again, just experiment. And you need 4 shapes up here. Now we're going to switch and use the line tool or the pen tool. So we are going to, up at the top, and actually before I do that, I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to drag this down here. Make sure that stays over there. And I'm going to name this pen. Okay, and then my pen tool is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to this. Over here, we're not going to worry about a fill color right now. Actually, I have the light off right now. And the only thing we need to do is worry about the border. So I'm going to actually change my line weight. This is how thick the line is, to be just a little bit thicker, and you can change the color as well. So I don't care what color you use. And how the pen tool works, we're going to do 2 different types of lines. So all you have to do is click and drag. I'm sorry, not drag. All you do is click and you let go of the mouse. So just a series of clicks. And I want you to just make some straight lines, just messing around with how this pen tool works. Okay, so you can see it's trying to drag because I'm done with my line, but it's still connected. So what you can do is press escape, and then it'll close that line off. So that is now a complete line. I can switch to, I got my little, they call it the pointer tool. And then if I select this, again, I can change the size of this. And I can also, if I change my mind on the color, I could change the color, everything like that. Okay, so there's my first set of lines. Now we're going to switch back to the pen tool. And we are going to do another series. So this is to make curvy lines. So go ahead and start the same way. You're going to click, and then now instead of just clicking like once, you're going to click and hold down. And then while you're holding down on your mouse, you can drag to create these curves. And as you can see, it kind of automatically curves it. If you don't want it to curve, you know, if you get tired of it curving, you have to go back and click this and it'll turn back into that straight line. Otherwise, clicking and holding down to create a curvy line. So I want you to just create a curve. We're just messing around, just experimenting, and then I will press escape. So then I can select this again. Maybe I want this a different color, different line weight. I think I like that. Okay. All right, now the last step is we're going to add text. And to do that, we're going to start with creating a layer. We're going to name this text. And then make sure we're in that layer. And up here at the top, as you can guess, text tool is right here. And I'm going to click and drag to create a text box. And I'm going to name this one straight. And then if you want to be fancy, you can highlight it, change the font, I don't care, change the color, whatever you want. Then we are going to create another one. So I clicked this layer and then I click text tool again. I'm going to click and drag, and this one will be called Curvy. And you could change the font to something different. It is, again, up to you, whatever you want. Okay, that is all we're going to do to start out just getting used to using Gravit Designer. So once you're done, you're going to go File, and you're going to Export. So we're not doing Save. We're going to go Export and PNG. So PNG, you save it where you want it. And then you are going to, once you save it, upload it to Google Classroom.